Today we are going to briefly go over using the Gridded Soil Survey Geographic Database in ArcMap. And just to start off, I wanted to show you this user guide that's available. It has a lot of really great information about how to use the data that is provided. And we'll go a little bit into that, but I just wanted you to be aware of this resource. And then second, I wanted to show you this table column description PDF that is associated with all of the data. And we'll get a little bit into this, but these are two really great resources that are available to use in conjunction with the provided data. So today, the goal is going to be looking at a specific parcel boundary and finding out soil attributes within that parcel. So just for reference, I have in my ArcMap, I have the soils layer, which is the tan layer that you see. And I also have the boundary of my parcel. And in this case, we're just looking at Chaga Heights easement, but this could be done for any boundary that you're interested in. So to start out, the first thing that you will want to do is add the soils layer and the boundary that you're interested in working with. And the soils layer can be found in the GIS library. Give it a minute. So this is the soils database. So you can see it's under State of South Carolina, Soils and Geology, 2020 soils, and then the gSSURGO _SC geodatabase. So when you click on that geodatabase, this is what pops up. So you have a bunch of tables and you have a few shapefiles. The shapefile that you are going to want to add is this MU polygon shapefile. And that is essentially all of the soils in the whole state of South Carolina. We're currently just zoomed in to see Chaga Heights. So this is the shapefile that you are going to start working with. So the first thing that we want to do to prepare to look at the soils within the Chaga Heights boundary is we are going to we're first going to clip this MU polygon layer to the boundary of Chaga Heights. So what that is going to do is that is going to show us only the soils that are within this boundary. And I've already done that, but I will go ahead and show you how you would do that. So you would go to Geoprocessing and select Clip. Your input feature would be the MU polygon layer, because that is the layer that you want to clip. And your clip feature is going to be the boundary that you want to clip it into. So in this case, it would be Chaga Heights. And your output feature class, you can change that location to go to a project folder or wherever you want it to go. I'm going to hit cancel, but normally you would hit OK. And the result would be this new layer. So now I'm going to check off the MU polygon layer. And I will show you that if you open the attribute table of the MU polygon table, you have all of these columns right here. And if you open up the new clipped shapefile attribute table, the columns are the same. There's just only 18 selected out of over 510,000. So this is just showing you the attributes that are only within Chaga Heights. The second step is going to be dissolve. So the reason that we want to dissolve by attributes is because if you look at this MU key, you can see that sometimes the MU key value is the same for multiple columns, and that makes it difficult down the line when you are joining tables together. So what you want to do is go to Geoprocessing and Dissolve, And again, I've already done this, so I'll show you what to do, but I'm not going to actually click OK. Your input feature would be Chaga Heights clip. And your dissolve field is going to be the MU key. And this is the column that is used to join the first few tables. And that gives you a lot of great information about the soil types. And this stands for map unit key. So this is the dissolve field that we want to select. And you don't have to do anything else. All you have to do is click OK. I'm going to hit cancel though. And the result will be a new shapefile. And if you open this attribute table, now we only have 14 attributes because we dissolved it by the MU key. And so that gave us only one attribute per MU key. So that way, when we join our tables to this shapefile, there won't be any rows that are null because there are no duplicates in this MU key column. So now that we have our prepared soil layer, it has been clipped and it has been dissolved by MU key, you are now ready to look at the soil attributes. So the way that we do that is we click joins and relates and hit join. And you want to navigate first to click this little button to browse, and you're going to go back to that soils geodatabase that had all of the tables listed. So again, that is under state G, which is the GIS library, state of SC, soil and geology, 2020 soils, and then the geodatabase. And so this shows you all of the available tables that you can work with. There's only a few that I have really worked with consistently, and if you're interested in joining some of these other tables, we can certainly look at that in the future. But I wanted to give you an idea of how to start doing that. So the first table that we are going to join is this MU AGAT table. We're going to hit add. And so once this loads, we're going to choose the field in this layer that the join will be based on. So this is choosing the column in your prepared soils shapefile. And we're going to select the MU key. And then choose the field in the table. So this is the field within this MU AGAT table that you are going to use to join. And you scroll all the way down to the bottom and you choose map unit key. Map unit key and MU key are the same thing. And we want to keep all records because that way, even if one doesn't match up with this table, you still want to be able to see all of the soils. So from here we hit OK. So now that we've joined that first table, we can open the attribute table and look at the attributes that have been added. And anything from this shape area column on, that is what has been added from the MU AGAT table. So you can see that there's a lot of really interesting information here. We have the map unit name, which goes into the type of soil, the slope, the erodibility. There's lots of really great columns. And a lot of the times, if there's not details for that specific soil, it will say null. And that's okay. We still want to keep as much information on here as we can. So that's why we selected keep all features. So some of the columns that I use pretty frequently is the drainage class, which is this column right here, dominant condition. And it says here that all of these soils are well drained. You can also look at the hydrologic group, dominant conditions, and a lot of times these will all be different. So you might have A or D or BC. Another really interesting one is the septic tank absorption fields, and this is something that the clean water team uses. And this shows us that some of these soils are very limited to having a septic tank absorption field working properly on that type of soil. So as you can see, there's a lot of really great information here. And what I wanted to show you from here is that all of these columns are available in this PDF that I was showing you. So this PDF goes into all of the column descriptions. So from here, you can see this is the table name, which is the map unit aggregated attribute, which is shortened to MUAGAT. And then it goes into all of the columns that are included in that table, as well as a description of what the column is and what it's detailing. So this PDF goes into every single table that you saw in that geodatabase. So the second table that is really useful to add is the component table. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to hit join. We're going to navigate to the geodatabase. And we are going to click component. Once that loads, we can choose the layers that the join will be based on. And in this case, you can look at both to see which one you want to use. But in this case, we again are going to use the map unit key. So you scroll down to the very bottom and you see map unit key. And the reason that we do this is because this is the only column that is in both tables that match up. The component key is not available yet, but once we join this table, the component key will be useful for the future. So once again, we click OK. And we can open the attribute table to see what has been added. So a lot of what this table shows has to do with the components of the actual soils. And so there's a lot of great information. I don't use a whole lot of it, but I do use the hydrologic group, and you can just kind of play around with the type of data that you might need to look at. It goes into elevation and drainage class, hydrate condition, cover type, erosion class, T factor. But these are the two columns that are going to be probably most useful, which is the component name and the component kind. So the component name is the very broad name of the type of soil that we are looking at. So one of the ways that we can use this data is we can symbolize our soils. We go to properties, symbology, and we're going to go to categories, and then we're going to choose the value field, and we're going to scroll all the way down to component name. So we choose component name, click add all values, and you can choose whatever color ramp you want to work with. I like this one because it looks soily, but you can also choose one that shows you, different colors. And so this gives us an idea of the types of soil that we have in this property. And you can do this symbology for any of these columns, but this is just a good one to use a lot of the time because it's the very high level component name. So as you can see, there's lots of different ways you can use this data once you have the data joined. And there's really only one more table that I use on a regular basis. So we are going to go back to properties real quick and just erase that symbology just to start fresh. And the last table that we are going to join is the sea horizon table. And every time I look at this table name, it kind of looks like chorizo. So we want to choose this sea horizon table. Press add. Let it load. And once it's loaded here, you can click and go all the way down. And in this case, we are going to use the component key. And as you can see, kind of like the first time we did a join, we can't join using this sea horizon key, but the sea horizon key, once it's added, gives you a lot of flexibility to add other tables that you might be interested in. So we're going to choose the component key, keep all records, and press OK. So now that that table has been added, we can look back at our attribute table. And see all of the different type of data that is available for us to look at now. And like I said, there's a ton of different information available. So here you can see the total clay value, the different types of silts, the percentages, and let's see, the thickness. There's something specific I was looking for, and now I cannot recall what that is. Anyway, there's, oh, here we go, K factor. So this is showing the erodibility based on the RUSLE model. And so you can look at this to see which soil types have a higher or lower K factor. And again, sometimes the tables won't match up, or there's just not information for that specific type of soil. So in this case, we can see which one that is, and I believe that would be the water. Yes, so that is the water represented. This part of the shapefile is just representing where the water is. So all of the other soil types, you could see the K factor, and that gives you an idea of the erodibility of that specific soil. So again, there's lots of different ways you can use all of this information. And if there's a specific piece of information that you want to look for, you can look through this PDF to find exactly what you want. And it is extensive, but it gives you a really good idea of every type of table and attribute that's available within this geodatabase. So that should give you a really good idea of how to use the soil survey. And again, there's lots of different ways that you can utilize this data. This is just the one way that I have found to be the easiest and quickest. But of course, if there's other ways that you are intending to utilize this data that are not covered in this webinar, please let me know. And we can go over that another time.